Some random facts you might want to know when it comes to crystals. Number one, whenever you're receiving a new crystal, whether you're purchasing it or getting it as a gift, always a good idea to cleanse it, whether you're using sage, the sun, the earth. At minimum, you want to run them under the tap, cold water, assuming that it's not going to damage the crystal. For instance, you wouldn't want to do that with selenite or black tourmaline, but you want to cleanse them some way. Early on in my spiritual journey, I purchased a fluorite crystal skull, and what I didn't know is that someone had placed a demonic energy into it. When I brought it home, my son's toys started going off on their own, breakers started blowing, and my son, who was only a few years old at the time, started telling me how he started seeing all these shadow beings running around the house, and I had to get a shaman in to clear these energies. But at the time I didn't realize just how important it was to cleanse your crystals. So keep that in mind. The ocean is the best in my opinion, but do something. There's some hawks out there trying to eat my crows and squirrels. I had to save a squirrel's life not too long ago from a hawk. Number two, I have a 6-inch quartz crystal and I have a large quartz crystal, and one time this thing, I was talking to it and it sent pulse waves to my ears, which actually felt like my eardrums burst. So crystals are conscious, they're high vibrational. I had Archangel Michael appear head to toe one time in this same quartz crystal that sent me the pulse waves. They're high frequency. Some people think they're bad, but they're from Mother Nature, and I often get guided to go to the ocean just to receive messages because there's large amounts of quartz in the area. It makes it high vibrational, easier to communicate with your guides. So despite some beliefs that crystals are negative, they're kind of like a tool that can be used whichever way, depending on the beholder, right? The third random fact about crystals, when it comes to wearing bracelets, what hand should you wear what crystal on? Well, what I've learned from working with shamans for over 10 years is that our left side receives energy and our right side sends energy. So when it comes to wearing crystals on your left hand, you want to wear your darker protective stones. Maybe your tiger's eye can be a little bit lighter, but for the most part, your darker crystals are protecting you and the energy that's coming in. On your right hand, you want to wear your, manifestation crystals because you're sending that energy out. It's also good to know that once you fully realize that you are God incarnated, you actually don't need any crystals. I often get people asking me, what crystals do you wear? It's a good idea to remember that you should never wear a crystal because someone that you admire or respect is wearing. Pay attention to your gut. What crystal is calling you, because what someone else is wearing might not be the most beneficial crystal for you. And just know that, it is really a placebo effect. Crystals work, they're high vibrational, they do have properties, but it's the fact that you're focusing in on it that's creating that reality for you. So if you're wearing your blue tiger's eye crystal and you're like, oh, I'm protected, it's enhancing that. But in reality, real protection comes from your connection with God. If you're aligned to God, if you're aligned to doing God's work, then he's going to see you as a valuable asset and he's going to place protection on you. When it comes to crystals, they need to be looked after. They're kind of like a pet. You got to cleanse them. You got to communicate. You got to talk to them. Another thing to remember that's very important, if you've ever received a crystal as a gift from someone, if you are no longer friends with that individual, and even on another note, if for instance, they do not have your best interest, it is extremely important to get rid of that crystal. I had a woman give me a quartz crystal, that was sending me death spells, that had her own son commit suicide, and she was using this crystal to tap into my energy of my house. And as soon as I found out how lost and demonic this soul was, I decided to chuck that crystal into a moving stream and cleanse it into the earth and just cut the cords between that very lost soul. So despite how much you may have fallen in love with the crystal that you received as a gift, get rid of it if the person does not have your best interest. Just wanted to say thanks to everybody that's gone out and purchased a copy of my new biography, Finding Me, where I talk about You know, growing up, my struggles that I faced that eventually led to an attempted suicide in 2014, where I met Archangel Michael for the first time. Links in the bio. You can purchase it on Amazon for $9.99, or you can get the hardcover for a little bit more. That's all I got. Thanks for watching.